Persons Prohibition Bill 2024 has passed second reading on the floor of the Senate. The bill, among others, seeks to eliminate all forms of violence against persons and to provide maximum protection and effective remedies for victims and punishment of offenders. Correspondent Kulujo reports that in his lead debate, sponsor of the bill, Senator Issa Jibrin, said it has become obvious that it contains provisions that are inimical to the realization of its objectives. The Kogi East lawmaker added that the act contains inadequate provisions for compensation of the victims of violence.
This bill was enacted in 2015 against the backdrop of the rising cases of violence, especially domestic violence against women. The initial bill sought protection for women from male domination violence. In the face of opposition to its obvious gender bias nature, the promoters renamed it, tinkered with some of its provisions, introduced stringently gender-neutral language, and successfully obtained its passage.
After deliberations, the bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Human Rights and Legal Matters to report back within 6 weeks.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish chartered out-of-home media practitioners of Nigeria and for other related matters 2024. Second reading taken.
Similarly, a bill for an act to establish chartered out-of-home media practitioners of Nigeria also passed for second reading on the floor of Tuesday's plenary. In his lead debate, sponsor of the bill, Enyinaya Baribe, stressed that the bill seeks to establish the regulatory body to oversee digital display in the country and the need to professionalize engagement in the field.
President, distinguished colleagues, the out-of-home media industry encompasses, and Mr. President, this is where you need to know exactly what it takes. It encompasses billboards, transit advertising, and digital displays.
They therefore referred to the Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters, Information and Media and Publicity to report back in 6 weeks.
Of cultural diversities, but we must protect our children and the future of the country. Another thing that I find very compelling is this section 27 of the Act, which vests jurisdiction only in the High Court of the FCT. Does it mean that this does not apply generally across Nigeria?
Meanwhile, the Senate has confirmed the nomination of Dr. Matthew Olumide for the appointment as the Director General, National Space Research and Development Agency. The Nigerian Senate on Tuesday urged the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, take measures to fight the current food insecurity in Nigeria. The upper chamber also urged the executive to outline measures to combat the situation and address the people on steps taken. Correspondent Kulujo reports that these resolutions were reached after a debate on a motion sponsored by Senator Sunday Akarimi, representing Kogi West, co-sponsored by Senate Chief Whip Ali Ndume. Presenting a motion, Senator Karimi noted that the price of goods and household consumables have been on an abysmal rise in the country. This, he said, has led to a high rate of inflation, weakened buying power, and general worsening of living conditions of the vast majority of Nigerians.
All effort made by the current federal executive to arrest the consistent increase in food inflation have not yielded the desired result. There is need to be more pragmatic about addressing food insecurity, curbing other farmer crises, kidnapping for ransom and terrorism, and ensure the development of a viable national commodity board to regulate the prices of grains and ensure the elimination of artificial contribution to food and commodity inflation in Nigeria.
A bag of rice is selling at about 100,000. A bag of maize, the same thing. Even prices of tomatoes, onions, and other basic food is high. Distinguished colleagues, as representatives of the people, we need to do something.
In his contributions, Senator Ahmed Lawan stressed the need for Senate leadership to engage the executive immediately to ensure food flood in Nigeria. Worried about the situation, the federal government on Monday announced suspension of taxes on imported food items, a move Senator Ahmed Lawan believes should be thoroughly examined.
In today's national dailies, the executive arm of government is saying is considering reducing or removing taxes on imported foodstuff. Mr. President, here's the catch. This Senate must engage the executive immediately. What are the issues? Which taxes are they talking about? Because we should be seen to be doing the right thing. We have really little or nothing in our food reserve across the country.
The other effort by the federal government is the provision of fertilizers to farmers across the country, something some senators said is yet to reach them and other constituents. In a remark, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, expressed concern over the high rise of food insecurity in the country, adding that the federal government must find a solution to it.
Fortunate that the fertilizer distribution had to be delayed, but I have at every point in time briefed the Senate President on the current status of what has been happening. We had hitches from the NSA's office. They stopped every truck of fertilizer from moving out because of the security implication.
Situation, and thereafter address the Nigerian people on steps taken. Address the Nigerian people on steps taken to ameliorate the situation. So for me, I'm saying that this is an emergency. The food situation is an emergency. We must help our people. And part of it is also to make sure it's not just providing food today, it's being able to plant to make sure that latest October, November, we have excess food in the market. Because Nigerians must feed. Everybody's concerned.
The Senate subsequently compressed all prayers into one, urging the federal government to swiftly address the food crisis in the country. The rising cost of living, especially food inflation in the country, caught the attention of the National Assembly by calling on the federal government to do everything within its power to urgently address the situation. The House of Representatives has called on the federal government to temporarily suspend the implementation of the controversial Samau Agreement pending the outcome of the investigation into the pact. This decision was made following a motion of urgent public importance moved by the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Aliyu Madaki, and supported by other lawmakers. Correspondent Inabuchi Oke Inabuchi sent in the details of the motion and other activities of the Green Chamber.
The Samoa Agreement, signed recently by the government, has been met with widespread criticism and outrage from many Nigerians. Honorable Madaki, in his motion, argued that the agreement contains clauses that promote LGBT rights, which are in conflict with existing laws in the country. During the debate on the motion, opinions were divided among lawmakers, with some supporting the motion while others opposed it.
Also worried that the phrase gender equality, as reported, is a Trojan horse for deceptively bringing in all sorts of immorality to our country, as gender no longer means sexes, male and female, as traditionally understood. It now includes homosexualism, lesbianism, transgenderism, and animalism.
My dear colleagues, this motion is one that is investigative. Because it's an investigative motion, I will even caution that we should not be judgmental in our argument. But clearly, where the federal government is going into an agreement, by the provisions of Section 12 of the Constitution, the Parliament ought to be carried along.
I believe that the public has been misled over time about the Samoa Agreement. Let me not waste the time of this House, but state very clearly, there is no portion of that agreement that talks about LGBTQ or 150 billion. Hold on.
Speaking on behalf of the lawmakers, Honorable Joshua Ghana emphasized that the amendment is not just about fairness, but also about unlocking the nation's full potential by tapping into the diverse perspectives and talents of all Nigerians, regardless of gender. The House also mandated the Commission Petroleum Resources, downstream and mainstream, to carry out a legislative forensic investigation into the depletion of fuel stock for domestic consumption.
Globally, Nigeria lags behind in women representation in parliament, among the lowest countries who have implemented this affirmative action. And we can see that in the countries of Rwanda, Andorra, and Kenya.
Mr. Speaker, the House is further informed of the alleged return of PMS price intervention with its impact on domestic markets. There is also the allegation of product unavailability to marketers from NFPC retail, endless shifting of timelines for refinery rehabilitation, the nefarious activities of petrol depot, which have affected product distribution and caused scarcity.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy, and the Chairman of the Independent Court Practice and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, has decried the rising incidents of sexual harassment in primary and secondary schools across the country. They raised the alarm at a one-day national stakeholders engagement on sexual harassment prevention, which was held today, Tuesday, in Abuja. Correspondent Kuluju completes the story.
The event, which was organized by the ICPC in collaboration with the Gender Mobile Initiative, is aimed at ensuring that model policy for tertiary institutions does not end like many others that needed to be adequately implemented. The Minister of Women Affairs and the Chairman of ICPC observed that until there is heavy consequences on offenders, the menace will continue to be on the increase, while stating that sexual harassment and other societal ills, including gender discrimination, are tarnishing the nation's reputation. The minister and ICPC boss said only a consistent, persistent, focused and united campaign will ensure that the challenge of sexual harassment in tertiary institutions is decisively addressed.
Today our focus is on the model policy for tertiary institutions. In today's deliberation, I want to encourage us to always keep in mind that anyone, irrespective of status, designation or gender, staff or student, can be a victim of sexual harassment. Likewise, anyone will be a perpetrator. As you know that ICPC has recently arraigned some people in court. One of them facing trial now is a professor of law. And also previously, there's also a professor who was arraigned, convicted and sentenced for sexual harassment in one of the universities in this country.
Which I had a meeting with the nurse group, had a meeting with hotelers, schools. We agreed whoever commits will be prosecuted, whether you're a man or you're a woman. It is not one-sided. The crime at times.
The Minister of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Sununu, in his remark, restated the commitment of the present administration to safety in schools as well as character molding. On her part, the founder and executive director of Gender Mobile Initiative, Omawumi Ogunrotimi, said the organization realized that it was really important for stakeholders to think about prevention framework than response framework.
Despite all efforts to eradicate sexual harassment in our educational institution, the ugly canker unfortunately persisted. I therefore call on stakeholders to step up their game in order to eradicate these dastardly biases from our institution of learning.
This partnership with the ICPC stems from the mutually reinforcing mandate of the ICPC, that's the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, to address the issue of abuse of office from a gender lens and also from a power-centered lens.
Stakeholders at the forum emphasized the need for collective approach in eliminating sexual violence and harassment in tertiary institutions in Nigeria. From Abuja, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
Justice Ramanu Shudi of Ikeja Special Offences Court has extended interim bail for Emefiele until he interviews the second surety on Wednesday. During Tuesday's trial, the prosecutor, EFCC, brought another witness, Ifeoma Ogbonnaya, a business relationship manager from Zenith Bank, who is an assistant manager of Emefiele's account. While being questioned by the EFCC lawyer, Ogbonnaya said they don't treat any transactions without the consent and approval by Margaret Emefiele, the suspect's wife. Ogbonnaya further went on to confirm credit and debit transactions that took place on the Zenith Bank account, with copies admitted as exhibit by the preceding judge. For his ruling, Justice Ramanu Shudi fixed July 10 for continuation of cross-examination of witness. Recall that Emefiele is standing trial over abuse of office and alleged $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira fraud, which he allegedly perpetrated while in office. He, however, denied the charges. You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News, and coming up next. Operatives of the Nigerian Navy ship holds educational rhapsody in 3 schools in Delta State as part of its mandate to boost the education system. Details of these and more will come to you shortly. Do stay with us. We're glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share a story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. Leaders and members of the Senior Staff Association of Universities and the counterpart from the non-academic staff of universities on Tuesday paralyzed activities at the University of Abuja. The protest was sequel to the failure of the federal government to pay 4-month outstanding salaries of members of the union. Correspondent Kuliojo completes the story.
Members of the union with placards of various inscriptions blocked the entrance to the institution, chanting various solidarity songs. The unions accuse the federal government of bias and insincerity, saying the protest is an indication of what lies ahead. Addressing journalists on their plight, the chairman of SANU, Comrade Nuruddin Yusuf, and the national president, Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, Comrade Makolo Azan, admitted that the repeated reneging of agreement has grave implications on qualitative education in Nigeria.
And the president actually followed up with his promise when in October 2023, he graciously approved that the 4 months without salaries of our members should be immediately paid. And also, he also directed that universities should be exempted from IPPIS. 9 months later, after this presidential directive, where is the money? Where is the implementation of this directive? All we see is that we have a selective George Orwellian implementation of this directive.
Stand now, what we are doing today here is just the beginning. On Thursday next week, all our executives and other members from across the country will converge in Abuja, and we are going to do a national protest. And
they stated that the peaceful protest remained a tip of an iceberg, saying the unions will be forced to shut down the entire system if nothing is done regarding its demands.
Today's protest signals the beginning of series of union actions, which will culminate in a total shutdown of our universities if our salaries are not paid. This action is preventable and is also avoidable.
You know, we believe in democracy in our union, in the union of NASU and SANU. We'll pass it back to the branch leadership. They will meet and take decision, and we will meet at the national level to evaluate all the decisions they have taken, and now tell our members the way forward.
As part of the move to keep the government on its toe, the leadership of the two unions had scheduled a national protest for next week, Thursday, July 18, 2024 in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. From the University of Abuja, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
Meanwhile, the Minister of State, Labour and Productivity, Kurukai Georgia, has been described incompetent by protesting members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, of University of Lagos Council. This aspersion was shown during a peaceful protest held by the Joint Action Committee in the university campus. Galaxy News correspondent Lepi Joseph has more.
The protesting university workers walked through the university campus armed with placards describing their displeasure about the treatment they are getting from government. They condemned the inability of minister to resolve the lingering issues.
Workers in the university system. It made a mockery of NASU, it made a mockery of SANU, because it showed that the Honorable Minister in himself lacks the capacity to be able to address industrial concerns in the university system. The Minister of Education met with us for over 2 hours. I was privileged to be at that meeting, and it was a meeting where all he did was ramble and apologize.
In the month of March, our national leaders directed us to go on 7 days warning strike, which was carried out in the University of Lagos. We went on 7 days warning strike. After that 7 days warning strike, as of today, nothing has been done. Yes, sir. Therefore, we are using today as a protest in all universities in the country.
They called on federal government to, as a matter of importance, pay up their withheld salary and revisit agreement reached in 2009 with a caveat that if government should remain adamant, they will opt for total industrial action and shut down university system nationwide.
You can imagine, 2009 agreement is still there. The agreement is already due for the negotiation, and nothing has been done. Nothing has been done to date. We say no to divide and rule again.
The 4 months without salary. Remember, we embarked on strike in year 2022, which when our 4 months were withheld, 4 months salary from May.
to September we will take. Up to now, the federal government are still sitting on our rights, on our entitlements.
From Lagos, this is Lebby Joseph reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Staffs of Federal College of Education Technical Akoka have reiterated the stance to reject the school provost, despite the stand taken by the Minister of Education in Abuja last Thursday. Staff of the school, in their large numbers clad in all black attire, converged at the Liberation Ground, displaying a total displeasure with the way the provost has managed the school since assuming office. Galaxy News correspondent Lebby Joseph has more.
That was the staff of Federal College of Education, Technical Akoka, in all black outfits, expressing their displeasure with the resolution of the Minister of Education, Professor Atahiru Mamman, during their truce meeting in Abuja last Thursday.
We are in black to show the sadness, the sorrow, the agony, the pains that the staff are going through, and to show the governing council, because our governing council is expected today, we want to let them know that people are not happy with the condemnation of this man called Dr. Aziz as the provost of this college.
We do not agree with the resolution in Abuja, and so henceforth they are here to show their disagreement with that resolution, and that is why we are here now.
The protesting workers made it known that they have no personal issues against the provost, but are worried about the way he and his other cronies handle the affairs of the school.
In students' affairs, Dr. Ojalade collected 2,500 from the students, all NC students and degree students. It's the extortion of money from students. It's not allowed by the government. It's the bad governance of Aziz. Aziz directed him to do that, and we don't want Aziz.
The entire staff of the Federal College of Education Technical Akoka want the minister to revisit the complaints tabled before him and assuage to their yearnings. From Lagos, this is Lebby Joseph reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Residents of Etegwe community in Yenugwa local government area of Bayelsa State have appealed to the state government and relevant stakeholders to come to their aid as heavy downpour have led to flooding which have made residents relocate. The flooding, which have prevented school children from attending schools in the community, is said to have damaged their personal belongings. Correspondent Dele Fason completes the story.
The Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, had predicted flooding in over 30 states of the Federation, with Bayelsa State inclusive. Hence, the sacking of residents in the Yenagoa community by the increase in water level, which made residents to relocate for their safety and that of their family members. The community paramount ruler and the victim lament over the devastating effect and the need for urgent intervention.
Major causes of these floods, even when there is no flood, ordinary rain will flood these communities because there is no proper drainage, no drainage system. Take for example this expressway. They did this work without drainage, and all of these streets are linking the expressway. So when rain falls, all the water comes into this ending, and the whole place becomes so flooded. Now the newly constructed car wash here, and also the filling station. These two areas, because the people do their work without proper drainage, no drainage, it has blocked the flow of.
There's no way for us in our house. Our children fell sick because of this water situation. Please, we need state government to help us to open a canal here to the Kutukutu school road so that the water can flow down to that side. Because of this water, people have built houses and blocked the channel that the water is supposed to flow. That is the cause of our problem. We just need government to open. It's just a little distance from here to that school road. Just a little distance. If they can open this place to that school road, we are free from this situation.
The Bayelsa State government had last month warned residents in flood-prone areas to relocate to higher grounds, while victims also complain of lack of provisions of palliatives in preparation for flooding. From Bayelsa State, Daily Fason reporting for Galaxy News.
The Nigerian Defense Academy on Tuesday held a lecture in honor of the first female Major General in the Armed Forces. The commandant of the academy, Major General John Ochai, says late Major General Adirunke Kale was the first to break through the gender barrier in the military, and academia is keeping her legacy alive. Galaxy TV, Bosun Yakasag has details in this report.
The Nigerian Defense Academy has honored the first female Nigerian to reach the rank of Major General in the Nigerian Army, late Major General Adirunke Kale. The event, which took place at the NDA Auditorium at Afaka on Tuesday, with a lecture titled Impact of Traditional Gender Roles on Women's Participation in the Armed Forces, Exploring Gender Stereotypes and Cultural Barriers. The special guest of honor, Major General Abimbola Muso, retired, who is equally the second female officer both to attain the rank of a Major General and to command the Nigerian Army Medical Corps, had some words of moral booster to both the female cadet and their colleagues. In his address, the Chief Host and Commandant, Nigerian Defense Academy, Major General John Ochai, emphasized the need to stop all forms of discrimination against gender, religion, and ethnicity.
So it's therefore a great joy when we see now that with the increasing enlistment and commissioning of women, their participation in more leadership roles makes it imperative that they are nurtured to successfully fill these roles. As we continue to strive to successful gender mainstreaming.
Today, the Nigerian Armed Forces have progressed in terms of gender equality in providing opportunities for both young boys and young girls to excel in their choosing careers.
In her address, the guest lecturer, Navy Captain Faye Sharashilibe, says the adoption of United Nations Security Council solution has helped in improving women's contribution in national development and armed forces in general. Fielding questions from newsmen, both Amusa and NDA Commandant reiterated the need to be hardworking, intelligent and physically fit for one to achieve greatness in the armed forces of Nigeria and in life generally.
You know, because then you even used to think that Major was the ultimate rank. So when you now have somebody actually getting to Major General, I think for many people it was then a sign that if you continue working hard, you know, you can actually go as far. And then when she became Major General, and then she was now heading a corps.
With this honor, the message we are sending is that there is no barrier to reaching the peak in the career of the armed forces of Nigeria. Not gender, not ethnicity, not race or religion stops anyone from attaining to the highest rank.
Operatives of the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Delta have held an educational rhapsody in 3 schools in Warri South local government area of Delta State. The exercise, according to the Navy, is part of its mandate to boost the Nigerian education system through educational materials and security tips. Correspondent Dele Fason completes the story.
Leading the team to the 3 schools was the commander NNS Delta, Komodo Abba Musin, represented by the executive officer, Navy Captain Solomon Paul, who described this exercise as directed by the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala.
In line with Operation Delta Sanity, which is anti-crude oil and anti-crude oil operations launched by the Chief of Naval Staff sometime on 9th of January 2024, the Nigerian Navy directed the units under Operation Delta Sanity should also include some non-kinetic approaches into our fight against illegalities in our waters.
The headmistresses and students commended the Navy for the gesture, as the Ministry of Education representative described the gesture as a remarkable one.
What they have on their book, that number one, drug abuse is bad. They should put it in their score. Cultism is bad also, and stealing is bad. Kidnapping is also bad. They should always be good learners. And with the teachers also, we are going to shun anything that is evil, not practice evil thing.
We are privileged to have our Navy officers in this school. We are very happy because some of our needs have been met. And I also want to say a big thank you.
The Nigerian Navy want to thank you for the books you have brought for us. I want to say thank you.
I am here to say that drug abuse is bad, cultism is bad, stealing is bad, kidnapping is bad. Always be a good student. That we are going to abide to all these things that on behalf of the Nigerian Navy for all what they have done to Olodi Primary School. I am here to say a big thank you for all what you have done for bringing all the items to Olodi Primary School.
It's a very good thing that we see in our time because we don't really experience this kind of gesture once.
Items donated includes books and pumping machines, power generators and slashers, as well as borehole, among others. From Warri in Delta State, Daily Fason reporting for Galaxy News.
And now move over to the foreign desk for more news. Hello and welcome to the foreign news. At least 8 people have died after Hurricane Beryl slammed into southeast Texas and Louisiana, knocking out power for nearly 3 million people. Beryl hit the southern United States as a Category 1 hurricane, but it has since been downgraded to a tropical depression. Officials warned of destructive winds up to 15 in of rain and life-threatening storm surges. More than 1,100 flights were cancelled at Houston Main Airport. According to Flightway, some 2.3 million customers in Texas were without power as of Tuesday morning, said Outrage, with some cuts also reported in Louisiana and Arkansas. A Texas-based utility provider said it planned to restore power for at least 1 million customers by the end of Wednesday. The storm also caused major destruction and at least 10 deaths in the Caribbean. In the U.S., officials said 7 people had died in Texas, Harris, and Montgomery counties, while 1 more fatality was confirmed in neighboring Louisiana. A 53-year-old man died after winds downed power lines and knocked a tree onto its home in Harris County, causing his roof to collapse. In the same country, which includes parts of Houston, 73-year-old grandmother Maria Loredo was reportedly dead after a tree crashed through the roof of her home. According to newsmen, Loredo's family told news stations that she was home with her son, his wife and her 2 grandchildren, ages 2 and 7, when the tree fell. No other family members were injured. U.S. President Joe Biden has condemned the wave of Russian missile strikes that killed at least 38 people in Ukraine as a horrific reminder of Russia's brutality as he vowed to strengthen Kyiv's air defenses. At least 180 were injured across the country, including some at a children's hospital in the capital, Kyiv. Russia has denied it fired at the Kyiv hospital, but the UN said it was highly likely Moscow was behind the blast, a conclusion shared by analysts who spoke to newsmen. It becomes as Biden prepares to host a NATO summit in Washington on Tuesday. The U.S. president said further boost to Ukraine's air defenses will be announced at the meeting. Leaders from the 32 NATO member states, their partner countries and the EU were gathering to mark the 75th anniversary of the bloc. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is also expected to attend. He has been urging Western allies to step up deliveries of air defenses for months amid increased Russian attacks. UN officials said May was the deadliest month for civilian casualties in almost a year. The summit will focus on defense and deterrence in the context of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine is not a NATO member, but it has asked to be admitted as soon as possible after its war with Russia ends. NATO's ongoing Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg, has said it is inevitable that Ukraine will eventually become a member, but not until after the war. Democrats in Congress are to hold critical meetings in Washington that could have a bearing on President Joe Biden's candidacy for re-election. Questions have been raised about the 81-year-old fitness for office after a stumbling presidential debate performance against Donald Trump late last month. On Monday, a 6th Democratic Congressman, Adam Smith, publicly urged Biden to step aside, telling newsmen that the party needed a stronger messenger. But in her own interview with newsmen, a major Democratic fundraiser insisted that the president was still acknowledged, but he had resuscitated their standing as an international leader and a superpower. The president will find himself in an even brighter spotlight when he hosts a meeting of leaders of countries in the NATO military alliance, he said. This is in addition to the day's closely watched meetings of House and Senate Democrats, during which Biden's candidacy is expected to be a pressing issue. The debate around the president's mental acuity has only intensified since lawyers returned to Washington after the 4th of July break. Speculations about who could replace him in the presidential election has mounted too, with Vice President Kamala Harris earning some high-profile backers. Smith went public on Monday after being named by multiple American outlets as one of a handful of congressmen who had privately told House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries that Biden should make way for another candidate. And still on foreign news, Ethiopian Premier Abiy Ahmed met Sudan's Army Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan on Tuesday, becoming the first foreign leader to visit him in his war capital, Port Sudan, since the start of the conflict between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Abiy, who was previously seen as closer to the RSF than the army and hosted its leader Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo in Addis Ababa in December, framed the visit as part of a push to bring stability to Sudan after nearly 15 months of conflict. The war between the Sudanese military factions has forced almost 10 million people from their homes, created famine-like conditions in parts of the country, and threatened to destabilize the region, while the RSF has taken most of the capital Khartoum and become its base. Talks hosted by Saudi Arabia and the United States in Jeddah aimed at brokering a ceasefire stalled last year, and attempts to bring the army back to the negotiating table have so far failed. Images shared by both sides showed Burhan and Abiy laughing and walking hand in hand after the Ethiopian leader's arrival. On X, Abiy's office called the visit part of effort to find sustainable solutions for Sudan's stability. A source close to the matter said Abiy had a better chance of achieving a breakthrough by being on the ground. The visit took place after an RSF attack on the southeastern state of Sinnar last month brought the war closer to Sudan's border with Ethiopia. There have been signs the RSF is moving into Gedaref state, which hosts more than 600,000 displaced Sudanese, as well as tens of thousands of Ethiopian refugees. And finally, on the foreign news, the Economic Community of West African State, ECOWAS, said it was disappointed with a lack of progress in reconciling with breakaway junta-led Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, and will make more vigorous reconciliation efforts. ECOWAS Commission President Omar Toure said at the start of a summit in the Nigerian capital Abuja signed a confederation treaty. That treaty underscored the junta's determination to exit the near 50-year ECOWAS after also severing military and diplomatic ties with Western powers while seeking greater ties with Russia. The authority expressed disappointment with the lack of progress in engagement with the authorities of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, and instructed the President of the Commission to facilitate a more vigorous approach, ECOWAS said in a communique. But ECOWAS will develop a forward-looking contingency plan regarding all eventualities in relation with the AES. Juntas in Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali seized power in a series of military coups between 2020 to 2023. It is not clear how closely the AES will harmonize political, economic and defense policies as it struggled to contain a decade-old battle with Islamist insurgents and growing economies that are among the world's poorest. The departure would weaken ECOWAS, and Toure said the freedom of movement and a common market of 400 million people offered by the bloc was under threat. And that's all we have on the foreign news. And up next is entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Rose Blossom Mwe. Super Eagles striker Kayode Olanrewaju has filed an ₦1 billion lawsuit against popular UK clergyman Pastor Toby Adegboyega for the mental anguish, loss of money and strained relationship brought on by his adulterous affair with Ezinne. It was reported months back that the married clergyman was accused of being in a sexual relationship with the footballer's wife. It was reported that the footballer's wife was introduced to Pastor Toby through an associate of media personality, Daddy Freeze. In an update to it, the footballer has filed for divorce from his wife and has also dragged the clergyman to court. In his court filing, Kayode urged a Federal Capital Territory High Court to dissolve his marriage, stating that he has broken down irretrievably and is also seeking custody of his 3 children. The footballer, who plays for Turkish club, urged the court to order UK-based pastor to pay him £1 billion in damage of goodwill. Earlier this year, Ezinne instituted legal actions against the husband, accusing him of making baseless allegations of infidelity and witchcraft against her and her mother. However, in a cross petition, Kayode accused Ezinne of repeatedly committing adultery with the UK-based pastor and other men since their marriage in 2013. The Super Eagles striker also claimed that his estranged wife kidnapped his children, who were later rescued by the Department of State Services personnel. The footballer further alleged that his wife's relationship with the pastor hasn't been discreet, with the person openly attending parties and sharing intimate moments in public. He also said his estranged wife had similar relationships with other men, which has made it intolerable for him to continue living with her as husband. As expected, the news has left many questioning the authenticity of his clergyman title. Olanrewaju also claimed that his divorced wife was sabotaging their business endeavors. A hearing on this issue has been scheduled for September 24, 2024. Hollywood actor Ibrahim Sulaiman has joined his wife Linda Ejiofor to share cute photos of their son, coin Iman Oshone Muna Sulaiman, as it clocks 4 today. The proud father shared the photos on the Instagram page and revealed that the young boy had been diligently counting down to his birthday. While speaking about how he added numbers each day and anticipated his birthday, Sulaiman disclosed that their son was a result of their request from God. He cheered him on his birthday and expressed how himself and his wife love him beyond human comprehension. Linda Ejiofor also shared cute photos online to celebrate her son's birthday. The mother of one said her son is the best firstborn child she could ever ask for. In another news, reports coming in suggest that the marriage between Nigerian singer Kizz Daniel and his wife MJ has allegedly ended because of infidelity. Recently, it was discovered that the shower hit producer had deleted all videos of his wife and the mother of his 3 children. While his wife May J's Instagram account was also disabled, many people expressed the concern over the sudden change of events. Confirming the fears of many, controversial blogger Cutie Jules alleged that the couple's marriage is on the rock over Kizz Daniel's latest infidelity. According to the blog, his wife caught him sleeping with another woman in his office and has vowed not to forgive him or take him back. The blog also said family and friends have stepped in, but the wife remains adamant, as she noted how she's forgiven him countless times, but this time she isn't going back. Meanwhile, talent manager and close friend of music star Davido, Ubi Franklin, has reacted after getting blocked by Kizz Daniel. This surprised many as Kiss Daniel is a close friend of Davido and has featured him on several of his songs. Taking to his blog comment section, it will be questioned if he should speak out. Finally, it is not every day that you see a veteran actor stage a protest in Nigeria, but Hanks Anoko seems to have broken the jinx. The legendary Nollywood actor took to the street to protest against the hardship currently being experienced in Nigeria and its effect on the cost of food. Dressed in simple clothes, Hank Anoko held up the Nigerian flag like a soldier returning from war while he chanted Hunger Day. This singular act resonated in the minds of netizens and it opened a lengthy discourse. Meanwhile, Deborah Nosa Okunzuwa, the wife of Nollywood actor Nosa Rex, has reacted to the trending video of Hanks Anoko staging a protest against hunger. Taking to the blog's comment section, Nosa Rex's wife applauded him for making a move and using his status to protect against the hardship in the country. And that'll be all on entertainment news today. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Riz Blossom Mwe. Bye for now.